Hey, what's up, coaches? Kurt Twitchell here from NoCeilingsFootball.com. Wishing all of you a happy 2017 football season. It's here. It's upon us. The offseason's over. Just wrapped up practice number 1 here today in the state of Michigan. Know a lot of guys have gotten started either this week or potentially last week as well. A lot of schools down south. Hoping you guys stay healthy and wish you the best luck as you move forward into week 1. Today, we are bringing you a video, which is the first video that we've done at No Ceilings Football. Branching out a little bit, just what the internet needs. Another bald guy with a beard and a deep voice on here, taking up bandwidth and scaring away little kids and whatnot. But it's good for me. Hopefully it's good for you, and you can take something small away from these videos that you can bring back to your staff, your program, your team, and make it better. So today, what we're going to talk about is a very simple zone coverage beater. All right, and that is the crossers or the mesh or the under concept, which you can see in a lot of different ways. It's an air raid staple, but the simplicity of the concept allows it to be adapted to many different types of offensive philosophies and formations. Seeing this quite a bit at the high school level as the simplest form of a rub, a pick, some misdirection in the passing game that forces us defensive coaches to have a plan and know how we're going to defend this with these crossers and those exchanges. Okay, what we have drawn up for you is a very simple 2x2 concept, just spread. We have a back offset to one side, and we're going to go through and we're going to talk about some things here as to how we want to defend the potential crossers from those inside number 2 receivers. In quarters coverage principles, the most basic way that you will find that the safeties are coached is to take number 2 on any vertical route. Now, how coaches teach that, a vertical route could be, some say it's at a landmark, 7 yards, 10 yards. The way that we coach it is anything that gets beyond our overhangs there, gets over the top of the linebacker tier, we are going to match that. Now, in this case, as we're getting into talking about the crossing routes and those number 2 receivers in this very basic set here, those are going to occur inside of the linebackers at probably working to a depth of only 5 to 7 yards is the way a lot of offenses are coaching it. We're looking to get that hip-to-hip rub. Maybe some coaches have their guys slap hands, but this is going to be an in-breaking route that occurs at a very shallow depth. Okay, one guy comes in, another guy also is in, but 1 yard over the top, and they're creating that mesh, hence the name, the mesh concept right there. Getting a rub or a pick potentially on those guys at your linebacker tier, but also messing with their eye control a little bit. Okay, so we have to be very disciplined in what we're doing here, understand what the offense is trying to do to us in this simple concept that can be difficult to defend. So the first thing that we talk about is our pre-snap communication. And what we will do with our Mike, who is responsible for identifying the number 3 receiver and walling him off vertical from the middle of the field, wherever he is. In this case, he's in the backfield. All right, but that Mike is always going to call out the location of that number 3 receiver if he can. Can be a little bit more difficult if the quarterback's under center or maybe in a pistol alignment where we're not necessarily calling out that balanced set. But in this case, when he's offside here, we're going to get a check right call. Okay, check right, some say alert right, whatever verbiage that you want to use there. We have a way for our Mike to communicate to our overhang guys where that number 3 receiver is, because we're looking at a potential switch between the number 2 and the number 3, with that number 3 coming out of the backfield on a swing or maybe a wheel, getting a little bit more vertical. All right, our overhangs are responsible for coming off onto that there. So pre-snap, check right, check left. If it's there, we're telling this guy he's got to be ready for that. Now, pretty simple concept there with exchanging those routes. Those kids can get that pretty easily. Now, the way that we teach our backside guy as well, and the reason that he needs to hear the check call, the check right call as the left linebacker here in this case, is because that tells us that he doesn't have a cross-face threat from the backfield necessarily, or at least most of the time. Okay, not saying that that's an absolute, but there's not going to be a ton of things that are going to threaten him across his face where he's going to have to come off of that number 2 receiver. So when we get that check right call there, what that tells our backside overhang is that if he gets the in-breaking route from number 2, he's going to carry that. All right. He's going to carry that potentially across the middle of the field. Now, what that allows him to do, and the way that we coach it up with getting reroutes on any vertical routes and whatnot, we want to make sure that he is extremely physical, understanding that the number one way for him to cancel that route out is to put it in the dirt. Okay, we open our guys up. We allow them to get their eyes and their feet moving towards that number 2 receiver, eyes off the quarterback, making sure that we get a reroute. Okay, we want to help those safeties first and foremost on the vertical routes. But in this case, if he's going to get a pass read, whatever he might be reading that particular week, game plan wise, whether it's the end man or the near back or the quarterback even, if he gets a pass read, he knows he can open up right to this guy and get 2 hands on him right now and be extremely physical. Okay, now that can be a little bit of clinic talk when we're talking about getting those inside reroutes from a shallow crosser here. A lot of the times that you will see in a live game situation is that linebacker opens up to a little bit more depth, typically thinking that he's going to get a vertical and that guy can sneak in underneath him. Okay, now we want to make sure that we are hitting those routes again and being physical with that. We talk about killer routes being ones that can get inside of us and then get vertical into the middle of the field where we don't have those safeties. Okay, because as soon as, like I said, this safety is looking for that number 2 to cross past linebacker depth. If he crosses inside, then we can't count on him to potentially be able to absorb anything that comes to the middle of the field if it started off shallow. So we want to make sure that our overhangs there, hopefully, best case scenario, are getting 2 hands on this dude right here, okay, but especially to the back side of the check call, all right, putting that route in the dirt. To the front side or to the strong side with the back there, we do work on these crossers and that exchange. And we want to make sure that we do maintain leverage on the near hip of that back coming out of the backfield. Okay, so if that back does gain leverage on us, we don't want to be fighting with a number 2 receiver here in the box and almost working that as a pick or a rub to where he can get vertical and potentially catch a ball on the run and get a big play. So we coach these guys here that they need to see 2, but feel 3 as he's coming out. So if they get 2 hands on number 2, great. All right, but they need to make sure that they come off to that number 3 and maintain leverage on that hip to make sure that we're good to go carrying that route vertically, potentially with a wheel. Now, with the mic, I did say that our overhangs sometimes have a hard time getting those reroutes in clinic talk, game situations, getting those reroutes live. That should not be as much of an issue for the mic. Okay, a lot of times the way that we coach our mic against spread teams or shotgun pistol type teams, and again, it changes during the week, but that back, in this case, in the 2x2 set, is his read. So as he sees that come out, he's getting that push call, that linebacker there. All right, and as this comes in, he can expect an in-breaking route from any route that comes out, okay, to accompany that. All right, one route coming in, he needs to knock that out. He needs to cancel it out and put it in the dirt. Okay, so that is a very physical way to teach this. In high school football, it's not pass interference or holding or whatever you want to call it. Okay, as long as we're getting hands on that before the ball is in the air. So we want to put those routes in the dirt and not let them go. Thank you, coaches, for watching this video on crossers, that mesh concept. We just covered some very simple things from a very basic formation. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways that offenses are going to run this at us. And just having a way to coach up the communication and knowing how you are going to play those exchanges is something that you decide on as you move forward into your season. For more information, you guys can always check out noceilingsfootball.com. Up there, we have a lot of quarters coverage stuff. We've got also just some articles about some program building, some outreach, some culture, community engagement, and also a free ebook on quarters coverage you can download there. Not pull any tricks. Just throw in your email, boom, you get an ebook there on quarters coverage that I wrote called The Top 10 Reasons to Build Your Defense Around Press Cover 4. So thanks again, coaches, for checking out the video. Wishing you guys the best of luck as you start your 2017 season. Email me anytime, Kurt@noceilingsfootball.com, or shoot me a message, give me a follow on Twitter. That's @CoachTwitch, TWICH. Take care. Best of luck to you.